Welcome to The Debate, part of the Inspiro Bytes anime series. Here we really get into the big intellectual conflicts in the stories we love. And look, few rivalries offer quite the same depth for this kind of discussion as the psychological war between Light Yagami and the detective L Lawliet in Death Note.
Oh, absolutely. It really is the ultimate contest of minds, isn't it? Because you've got these two fundamentally different kinds of genius clashing. Both are, completely off the charts, obsessive, and frankly terrifying in what they can do.
Exactly. And that clash, it brings us straight to our central question for today. Who really had the superior intellect? Was it Light Yagami or was it L Lawliet? We're basically debating, whether true genius is about that raw, lightning-fast, deductive power, that innate intuition L had, or is it more about comprehensive, adaptable strategic planning and, actually pulling off long-term goals like Light aimed for? While we dive into this, please do take a second to like this video and subscribe to the Inspiro Bytes channel. We offer these kinds of sophisticated breakdowns across all our series, music, lyrics, legal stuff, and of course, more anime debates like this one. I'll be arguing that L Lawliet possessed a kind of superior, foundational cognitive gift, an intuitive intelligence, really, that Light just couldn't match in terms of pure analytical power. My case rests on let's say, the quality and the sheer speed of L's insights.
Okay, and I'm going to argue that raw intelligence, it doesn't mean much if you can't apply it effectively and adapt. Light, I believe, showed far greater strategic intelligence. He excelled in versatility and long-term planning, and ultimately, that's what allowed him to, take L off the board. He won that specific conflict.
I understand that argument, the he won argument, but let's really look at L's mind for a second. The source material consistently portrays him as having this shatteringly high intellect. He specializes in abstract thinking, deep insight. Take, for example, when Misa, the second Kira, first makes contact. L intercepts that call, right? And it's not just the words. Within seconds, he processes the nuance, Misa's surprise, Light's panicked interruption, and boom, he deduces there are two Kiras. Just like that. That's phenomenal cognitive processing, instantaneous induction.
L's deduction is exceptional. I won't deny that, yeah. But Light's intelligence, I think, is defined differently. It's more multidisciplinary. L is hyper-focused on deduction, on analysis. Light, though, excels in strategy, in versatility, and, crucially, in social engineering. Look at his stats. Charisma, 10 out of 10. Deception, 10 out of 10. L's social skills, 1 out of 10. Light's a master of deception, of long-term planning. He successfully used charisma, manipulation, and his foresight. It's clear really early on. He set up those layered contingency plans like the hidden Death Note piece in his desk, the fire trap. This was before L was even officially confirmed as his main opponent.
But don't you think he had to rely on those physical, mechanical contingencies precisely because his initial strategy, his killing pattern, was fundamentally flawed? So flawed that L, working pretty much alone, could pick it apart almost immediately. L started with 7 billion potential suspects, and very quickly narrowed it down to the Kanto region of Japan. He wasn't treating it like a standard police case. He approached it like an information theory problem, statistically cutting down the uncertainty with every bit of behavioral data Kira leaked.
See, I just don't buy that Law's early success automatically proves his intelligence is untouchable. It proves Light's initial arrogance, maybe his overconfidence. L could only pinpoint Kira's location because Light, frankly, he made some early mistakes, using the same cause of death, falling for the Lind L. Tailor broadcast trap. If Light had been perfectly anonymous from the start, randomized times, methods, like rolling a dice, L wouldn't have had those crucial data points. He wouldn't have gotten the, 33 bits of information needed. L's whole method depended on Light being somewhat predictable at the start.
And L capitalized on that predictability because it pointed to a key flaw in Light's thinking, his hubris. Light believed he was so intellectually superior he could afford shortcuts, and that led to basic operational security errors. Consider mistake number 4, a critical one. Light using confidential police files, stolen using his father's credentials, to kill criminals. Completely unnecessary. He had a world of public criminals to target. By using non-public info, he basically gift-wrapped L the single most crucial piece of evidence, linking Kira directly to the police investigation. L's challenges forced Light to adapt, sure, but Light's own approach created those fatal vulnerabilities in the first place.
Okay, but the difference here is in recovery and adaptation. L might capitalize on mistakes, yeah, but when Light was truly cornered, when L was basically certain it was him, Light's moved to relinquish the death note, wiping his own memory. That shows, I think, a superior adaptive intellect. He could literally reset the game board to save himself from checkmate. L, on the other hand, shows moments of, let's say, psychological brittleness. When his theories are challenged or when things don't fit his framework, he can get depressed, he can falter, even if only briefly. Light's strength is bouncing back from those massive errors.
Light's recovery is impressive, definitely, but it's fundamentally a reaction to his own earlier failures. Now let's talk about L's ultimate failure, because you brought up winning, and this is key. L failed to secure the capture despite being, and the creator confirmed this, over 90% sure Light was Kira.
Exactly. That's precisely the point I wanted to make. L's failure wasn't in his analysis, it was in the application. He prioritized the intellectual chase, the game of wits. It felt almost like a hobby to him, didn't it? His insistence on secrecy, on drawing out the confrontation. That gave Light the time he needed to bring in external factors, supernatural ones. L won the intellectual puzzle of who is Kira, but he lost the practical objective, stopping him. He was playing chess. Light was fighting for survival.
But L's suspicion, it wasn't just a hunch. It was built on solid empirical deduction. Remember, the Kira killings stopped dead precisely when L put the Yagami house under surveillance. That's not intuition, that's evidence. L was playing a long, complex psychological game, maintaining this facade of uncertainty, arguably toying with Light, and ultimately, L was taken out by something completely outside the rules of logical deduction. The Shinigami rules, specifically Rem being forced to sacrifice herself. Light had an information advantage L couldn't possibly have predicted or countered through reason alone. You can't really call that proof of Light's superior human intellect.
But Light's genius, I argue, is shown right there in his ability to weaponize that information asymmetry. Intelligence has to be judged by results, by its effective application. Light executed an incredibly complex plan that leveraged those external factors brilliantly. Using Misa, the second Kira, pushing Rem into that impossible corner where she had to kill L to save Misa. That required anticipating Misa regaining her memories, making the ideal again, and, crucially, calculating Rem's absolute devotion. That's strategic genius in action. L completely lacked that kind of manipulative, external execution capability. It was a huge blind spot for him.
Okay, I see the argument for strategic success there, but I have to push back and say it hinged massively on specific, let's be honest, highly improbable plot points and a huge dose of luck. Even Light himself, in his thoughts, admits his victory felt assisted by some god other than a Shinigami. I mean, Misa falling head over heels for him instantly, Reem being so devoted she'd violate Shinigami rules and die to save Misa. That exact confluence isn't proof of a repeatable intellectual strategy. L's methods, though, his use of information theory, his analytical process, his de-anonymization techniques, those are fundamentally sound and reproducible detective methods. Light needed the supernatural wildcard. L was beaten by rules he couldn't know.
But recognizing and exploiting the wild card is intelligence. That's opportunism. That's adaptive genius. Light was dealt a unique hand with unique rules, and he played it masterfully to eliminate the single greatest threat to his plan. If L's analytical engine was so superior, why couldn't it account for the most potent factor on the board? The emotional leverage Light held over Rem via Misa. L was brilliant at analyzing the data presented. Light was brilliant at manipulating the entire game environment.
And I suppose that fundamental difference is what makes this rivalry so compelling, isn't it? You have two characters who represent absolute peak intelligence, just in very different ways. L, I still maintain, holds the edge in raw intellectual horsepower, that abstract intuitive leaps, the methodological rigor.
While Light, I'd say, demonstrated superior strategic effectiveness,
better planning, adaptation, and frankly, a mastery of recovery under pressure. He used the unique tools he had to achieve his objective against L. He navigated L's traps and took him out.
It's true. L's pure deductive ability, though, figuring out so much from almost nothing, it really was something else. It makes you wonder how things might have played out if the supernatural element, those hidden rules, weren't in play.
Well, we can only judge the game that was played. And in that game, Light found the winning move.
Clearly, there's always more to unpack with Death Note, and this debate over L versus Light will likely never truly end.
Absolutely. And hey, for more breakdowns and debates like this one, whether it's anime, music lyrics, or even legal cases, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Inspiro Bytes channel.
Thank you for joining us on The Debate.